Welcome back to the Twist of Fate podcast, where you can find your inspiration to make your dreams come true.
Woo! I have some crazy stories of some things that have happened.
That was good. I like it.
So while maybe my knees have a little less cartilage than most 32-year-olds, I feel great.
I am a stand-up comic, actress, MC, and Italian.
You know, this is my 9th attempt on business. You just got to keep going, and it'll lead you to your path.
Everybody thinks it's easy and that anybody can do it.
It's Blake Lewis. If you want to catch my full interview, check it out on the Twist of Fate podcast.
My name is Tommy Caprio, and I'm a television producer. I've worked on a lot of shows on Comedy Central. When I was in LA at the time, the last few things I did were the Jim Jeffries show on Comedy Central, Not Safe with Nikki Glazer, a show called The Writer's Room. Yeah, just most of it was comedy. I started with a news and political affairs show called Tavis Smiley that was on PBS. And right now I'm doing Vegas All In on PBS in Las Vegas.
Is there any shows that were your favorite, or is it like picking between your children or something like that?
It's definitely like picking between my children. Those shows are my favorite. They're all very, very different. So I would say that they're all special in their own right, and pretty much from every experience I've at least had walked away with friendships and people who are important to me that I still communicate with today. I don't really burn any bridges. I don't burn bridges, and I don't really kind of lose contact with people, which can lead into a million other questions that you want to ask about what's the most important thing in the industry. Yeah, I think you have to be around people who want to do what you do. And sometimes in order to do that, you have to work for free. Volunteer. I started off my career working as an intern and volunteer at the local PBS station. Full circle, I'm back here again now, but I had a lucrative career in between them, but it's all because of free work, which led me to finding one little tab to pull down and call this number if you want to work for free on a local film or local television. And I've made contacts there on that particular day 30 years ago that I still talk to this day. In fact, still work with.
How do you know when to stop giving away free work? Do you just keep going until something sticks? How can you vet?
I think you feel it when you want to stop giving away free work. You just kind of, sometimes the circumstances force it. You got to have this industry is weird. You got to kind of have a little bit of faith. And there's always I don't know how people do it without thinking about, things that are fate or connections that you make, or if you don't really believe that you're meant to do this, or because things happen when you literally, I've been in situations where I'm out of money and the bank account is coming down the end, and then that call comes for another job. It's just almost like, why is this happening? Why am I being teased to almost have no work, ready to step away, and then given just a little bit more? And you got to believe there's some other bigger reason why you keep going. But I think originally your question was, how do you know when to give away free work? When you can't pay your rent. I turned down a lot of jobs at one point because I knew specifically what I wanted to do. The way the industry works is you have to build a tribe. And people that you're going to work with probably for the long run. So if there's a particular genre in which you don't really want to work in, you don't see yourself in, even when you need the money, if you go that route, there's a good chance that people will only see you as that. So for me, it was reality TV. There was a lot of reality TV opportunities to go into this world. And I know guys who said, and girls who said, I'm going to take a reality TV show job, and then I'm going to start writing scripts and do this and the other way. It's very hard to make that transition, because when you're going to bring those things to someone else and they look at a resume or the work you've done and all they see is reality TV, you're always going to be seen as a reality TV producer for them. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. People make that transition back into other, but you also get comfortable. You know it. Once you get into a very particular genre, you're like, this is what I do. This is what I know. All my people that I can call when I need writers, producers, shooters, editors, they do this type of work. And so it's like your network becomes that. And then before you know it, years go by and you're still doing something you don't want to do. So if you can hold out to find the job you want to do, then go for it. And on the other side of that, who knows? I think most people come to Hollywood or come to this industry in general, and they're like, well, I want to be a writer and a director. And I know guys and gals who are driving, fancy cars and living in big houses who are lighting designers with that same dream. They started doing it because it was something else or a different direction. They're like, I really love this and I enjoy this, and I don't like all the headaches that a producer has to go through or all the things that a director has to do. And I enjoy, making something look really beautiful in lighting and making a good living doing it. And then that's fine. They do it forever. I mean, that's how most people, kids don't grow up and say, when I get older, I want to be a sound guy, What I tell people all the time is that you want to be the most liked person in the room without being overbearing. Because at the end of the day, it's 14, 16, 18 hours of work. And the only question I need to ask myself is, who do I want to spend that time with? You may went to have an MBA from Harvard and someone might have went to community school, but if I like that person, that's who's getting the job. And that's just a harsh reality, and it's like, maybe that doesn't, fold well into the whole concept of work hard, because you can do both. And some people have to work a little harder at just being likable, or just being the type of person that people want to be around. And some people, they never have to worry about it because it's a skill they were born with. But the point is, like, I know that seems like has nothing to do with the job itself, but it actually is important. It's something you can't either teach or something that you can't explain really. But there's still no substitute for hard work and working for free and showing up on time and putting and on your own time learning skills that other people have. Having a crystal ball is another thing. I knew that some people may know that some industry is going to go away and you're perfecting it, but if you don't want to if you don't want to start learning AI, or if you're stuck in working with Digibeta editing equipment, even though there's a brand new Adobe Premiere and a Final Cut, and you still want to stick with that, you're going to be out of work. You got to be 2 steps ahead to know where the technology is going so that you're useful. I will age out of this. It's just an unfortunate fact about entertainment. The entertainment industry in general, and you can go in different routes. You can go the network route, but I'm only as old as my network is. So what's happening I see in my life now is that some of the people who I came up with, or gave me my first big breaks, or they're retired, or they're not there anymore. So I need to constantly be evolving myself to make my network on the younger age to continue to grow it, or then I'm always going to be relevant. So it's not just about because you really need all those people. You need your networking constantly. And so when it gets to the point in someone's career when all of their network contacts are done, retired, what you see happening in the industry now is people leaving it all together. There's just not enough work. It's just they want to start a family. They don't have the time for it. They don't want to travel, and so they leave. And so the more of those people in my network that are starting to leave, which they are, which was part scary when I moved to Las Vegas because my network was Los Angeles. And now we're building our own network here so that we all continue to work and continue to do things. But when that finally happens and there's less network contacts than I can deal with, that means it's probably time for me to go too, which is why I'm also not just sitting on my hands. I'm being entrepreneurial to start something that's somewhat in my field, but also more of a service than having to pitch something and be relevant all the time. Soundstage business is like real estate. I rent you 4 walls to make your movie. I rent you a 4-wall factory to make your movies and television and internet content in. And it has become way too expensive. So our motto is to make sure that the people who are owning and operating these things understand the industry so that they can work as a partner with production companies rather than just a landlord in order to get them the best price and the best service they need so they continue to come back. That's something that we've lost the last few years because of institutional money coming into the space. We're trying to bring that back a little bit, and you target build these places, not just purpose build, target build them without all the bells and whistles that no producer has ever really asked for. And that's how you keep the cost down for people who are now cost conscious, because that's the industry. The future of this industry is cost consciousness. You gotta love this, because Doug and I talked about that on a podcast too, that this is tough. There are times when you go months, years, weeks, whatever, without work. There's no consistency. As a whole, if you're going to be a freelancer, you don't know when your next paycheck's going to come. You got to learn how to be a good saver. If I was teaching a class on this, a producing class, half of it would be about how to network and how to save money, and what percentage of your paychecks that you get need to go towards the time, with the average time off between you getting a job is. And that's really scary for a lot of people. And if you don't love it, I say this to my wife, who's a comic, if you have one inkling in your mind that you don't feel like doing this today, or I'm tired and I don't want to get off the couch to do it, then you're in for the long haul. Don't do it. Because if you can't enjoy that process, you're not going to enjoy it even when you're doing it, because it's hard work. So I don't remember what your question was. But I think
we're just having a good conversation.
yeah, but I think just do it if you love it. And if it becomes too much, you don't want to do it anymore. At least you said you did it. You never have to say would have, could have, should have when you're on your deathbed. That was my whole thing to move out to LA and take the chances. Like, I do not want to, and I love my parents, and I don't think they did exactly what they wanted. They had 5 kids. I just don't think that they ever, I have these friends, who are like, I can't wait to retire so I can go travel to Europe, and I'm going to save up all my money. I'm going to go to Europe. I'm going to do something. I'm like, well, when you're 60 years old, 65, what do you think you're doing in Europe? You ain't walking Europe. You could barely walk around now at 45 years old. Like, what do you, so it's like, what are you waiting for, right? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just find something. And I guarantee if you're following your passion at the time, you'll fall into something else that does work. It's just not, like, I don't know that I'll be a producer forever. In fact, I'm working on not doing that forever, right? Because I want to evolve as a person. I want to not have to chase the next job. I want to, know where my next paycheck's going to come. I want to sell something off and have enough money, because at the end of the day, when you get older, what you realize is most important is your freedom. I want to not be tied down and told to show up and punch the clock at 9 o'clock. That's why I stay a freelancer. But also with that, if I take time off, I don't get paid, right? So when I say if I'm a freelancer and I'm contracted and I want to take a week vacation, vacation feels a little more guilty when you're not going to get a paycheck from it. Hi, I'm Tommy Caprio. I'm a producer here in Las Vegas, and if you like this video, check out more on Twist of Fate.